Whispers of Winterfold. Chapter 1. The Return. The old Christmas home stood silently before me, shrouded in the cold winter fog that clung to the air like a ghostly veil. My heart pounded with a mix of anticipation and anxiety as I pulled up outside my family's holiday home in the quiet town of Winterfold. The car windows steamed up as I peered out, taking in the familiar sights, the snow that covered streets, the holly that clad windows, and the distant church steeple that seemed to watch over everything like an unblinking eye. I had left Winterfold 5 years ago, escaping the haunting memories of my mother's death and the eerie whispers that followed her demise. I thought I was leaving behind more than just a town. I was attempting to leave behind a past that had twisted my perceptions of reality. But now, as Christmas approached, my father had insisted we return. It felt like an impossible task to reconcile my desire for normalcy with the pull of memories I desperately wanted to forget. I climbed out of the car and closed the door softly, careful not to wake anyone who might still be sleeping inside. The front porch creaked under my feet as I made my way to the door, gripping my coat tightly around me. My father was waiting inside, along with my younger sister, Emily. Their warm greetings were a stark contrast to the chill that seemed to seep into my bones the moment I stepped through the door. The house was cozy, but there was an undercurrent of something unsettling that made the air feel even colder than it was outside. "We missed you so much, Alex," my father said, his voice tinged with sadness and relief all at once. He hugged me tightly, and I could sense the weight of our shared grief. Emily's face lit up as she enveloped me in a hug too, but there was an edge to her excitement that made me question if something was off. The walls seemed thicker here, the shadows deeper, casting long, eerie silhouettes on the walls whenever a single beam of light flickered across them. As I walked through the house, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching me from the corners of my eyes. My mind raced with questions and doubts. Why had my father insisted on this visit? What was it about Winterfold that he wanted to protect? And most terrifying of all, what secrets were lurking in the shadows of this old house, ready to unravel my sense of reality once more? Chapter 2. The Unseen. That night, as I lay in bed trying to sleep, a strange noise interrupted my thoughts. It was a faint whispering sound, like leaves rustling in the wind, but there were no windows open, and it wasn't the kind of weather that would produce such noises outside. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I felt a chill run down my spine. I listened more intently, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound, but it stopped abruptly as if it had sensed my awareness. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was watching me from the darkness. The following days were filled with an unsettling sense of unease. The house seemed to have a life of its own, as if it was hiding secrets in every nook and cranny. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of the lights, sent shivers down my spine. I began to notice small things that didn't add up. Furniture moved from one place to another overnight. Personal items of mine were missing only to reappear in strange locations. It was as if someone or something was playing a sinister game with me, testing the limits of my sanity. Determined to find answers, I started investigating the house and its history. I dug through old family albums and asked my father questions about the town's past. What I uncovered was both fascinating and terrifying. Winterfold had a dark reputation long before my mother's death. Whispered rumors of supernatural occurrences and eerie phenomena that went back generations. The more I learned, the more it seemed like my family was somehow intertwined with these ominous events. There were stories of hauntings, strange disappearances, and unexplained events that defied any logical explanation. And at the center of it all was my mother, who had always been fascinated by these legends, but had mysteriously died under circumstances that remained unsolved. One evening, while rummaging through a dusty attic, I stumbled upon an old journal belonging to my grandmother. It contained detailed accounts of the town's dark history and my family's connection to it. The entries described a series of eerie events that seemed to follow a pattern. Each generation of my family would encounter strange occurrences that led them deeper into the town's secrets. And now, it felt like I was at the center of this cycle, trapped in a web of mysteries that threatened to unravel my sense of reality and sanity once more. But as much as I wanted answers, there was also a part of me that feared what I might discover. The Whispers of Winterfold were not just legends. They were real, and they were coming closer. And as the shadows grew longer, I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was lurking in the darkness, waiting for its chance to strike. Chapter 3. Shadows of Doubt. Determined to uncover the truth and put an end to the haunting whispers of Winterfold, I plunged deeper into my investigation. I spent every spare moment searching through old books, interviewing townspeople who had lived there for decades, and visiting locations rumored to be haunted. With each step, I uncovered more disturbing clues about my family's dark history and the supernatural forces at play in the town. The more I learned, the clearer it became that my mother's death was not a random event, but part of a much larger and malevolent plan. As I gathered evidence and pieced together the puzzle, I realized that the danger was not just lurking in the shadows. It was closer than I had ever imagined. It was hidden in plain sight, masked by the familiar surroundings of my family's holiday home. The house itself seemed to be a part of the sinister force, protecting its secrets at all costs. One night, as I sat in the dimly lit living room, poring over my notes and journal entries, I heard a faint sound from upstairs. It was a whisper, soft but distinct, like the rustling of leaves in the wind. My heart raced as I quietly made my way to the stairs, every creak of the floor amplifying the tension. Reaching the top of the stairs, I tiptoed down the hallway, my eyes scanning the darkened rooms. The source of the whisper was clear. The sound seemed to be coming from my mother's old bedroom. I hesitated for a moment, my fear and curiosity warring within me. With trembling hands, I pushed open the door and stepped inside. The room was eerily quiet, except for the whisper that grew louder as I entered. As I moved closer to the bed, the source of the sound became clearer. A shadowy figure was sitting in the corner of the room. It was motionless, almost as if it was waiting for me to come nearer. My breath caught in my throat as I approached cautiously, my eyes wide with fear and disbelief. The figure turned towards me slowly, its face obscured by darkness. In that moment, I knew without a doubt that the danger was not just lurking in the shadows. It was personal. It was here in this house, hidden in plain sight, and it was coming for me. With every fiber of my being screaming to run, I stood my ground, knowing that if I was to survive, I had to face this unseen threat head-on.